Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So anybody who knows me knows that Friends and The Office are my two favorite shows, and I can never really call one like my absolute favorite show because personally I don't believe in pitting like two boss ass bitches against each other. Just a rule that I have. But I have watched Friends and The Office more times than I can count, and honestly, like as sad as it sounds, I know these characters better than I know myself. So I thought this would be a good time to do a video on how much I hate Ross Geller, and basically how he is not only the worst friend, person, boyfriend, father, but overall worst character in television history. Also, I am Ross. I hate him, but I am him. And it's something that I really struggle with because do I hate myself? So first I'm just gonna talk about Ross as a person, and okay, I'm kind of petty, but little things that bothered me about him. So first things first, his pronunciation of certain words. So like the way he pronounces karate, no. Okay, and then the way he always corrects people, which is something I do too, and it's a really ugly habit and like something I'm actively trying to get out of doing. And the fact that he refers to himself as a doctor and has the audacity to do it at like hospitals. Okay, the next thing, the whole unagi thing. Okay, first of all, I searched it up and it just means freshwater eel in Japanese. So I mean, we can talk about the lack of cultural competency in the show as a whole, but that's not what this video is about. Because once I get into that, I will never be able to stop. I think I'm gonna do a video about just how Friends did not age well, because it is my all-time favorite show. Second, one of, I don't know. But it really did not age well, and it's also like basically a ripoff of Living Single. We are living single. Oh, in a 90s kind of world, I'm glad I got my girl. Also, another thing that bothers me about him, the way he gets possessive over women, right? Like for example, the episode with the hot pizza delivery girl, and how like he was trying to flirt with her, but he wasn't doing really well. But he wasn't really good at flirting, and then Chandler kind of came in to save the day. And I think like him and her and Chandler kind of know each other, like the way the show implied, like they have, like she's delivered pizza to them many times, most likely because of Joey, so they've been able to establish a friendly relationship, which is why he was able to talk to her without being the nervous wreck that Ross was. But in the episode, he says to Chandler, let me have her. First of all, if she don't want to date you, she don't want to date you. End of story. Move on, my guy. Right? But second of all, how do you let somebody, like, how do you ask someone to give you permission to have someone else? Like, she's not property, she's an actual person. And this is honestly consistent with his behavior throughout the whole show, including like his attitude towards Rachel. He really does not view the women in his life and women in general as like full autonomous beings, and just views them as like something for him to win or have. The whole Carol and Susan thing, like, it's just so fucking weird to me that he was so competitive with Susan over Carol. Like, that's not your wife, you know, that's someone else's girl. Let it go. Now let's talk about Ross as a friend, right? Because the show is called Friends. Out of all the characters in the show, I feel like Ross is definitely the least supportive, right? Like, I can pinpoint episodes about each individual character and say this shows that this person is really supportive. And Monica's made sacrifices time and time over for her friends and her family, and it's hard to draw that kind of parallel with Ross, where we see him like being selfless most of the time. Sometimes he'll try to be selfless, but then like his own priorities would just like take over and fuck everybody else basically. And also like it goes back into the whole correcting people thing, but like trying to show off that he's smarter than everyone else. And I mean, okay, fine, my guy, you have a doctorate, whatever, congratulations, good for you. But like nobody wants to be around somebody who intentionally goes out of their way to like prove their intelligence over you. That's annoying. I've had people like that in my life, and there's a reason why they're not in my life anymore. The one episode that really like bothered me and really showed what a shitty friend he is was the one episode where Phoebe found the cat and she thought like that was her mother reincarnated as a cat. Okay, we're all logical adults. Obviously, that's not her mother reincarnated as a cat, and she knows that's not her mother reincarnated as a cat, but she lost her mother, and obviously, like, she still thinks that she's still having trouble dealing with it, and none of the other friends had the heart to tell her, like, yo, Phoebes, this isn't your mom, like, you kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but he not only had the heart or whatever to just like tell her, but also kept pushing everyone else to do it as well. And it's like proving the point was so important that he was willing to like hurt his friend over it. Now let's talk about Ross as a brother, right? So there's a few episodes where Monica literally tells him like growing up she hated his guts, and the reason is because he was just really rude and inconsiderate. And the episode where, and this is after him and Rachel start dating, but like that episode literally drives me insane, which is why like I have anxiety, so like certain things really get to me more than they should. But like just the episode where he starts sleeping over a lot, so he's, you know, eating their food, he's watching their TV, and like she has her own apartment, you know, like this is her apartment. And first of all, you a guest in someone else's house. How are you so disrespectful? Like even if my sister comes to visit me, like this, yes, obviously she's my sister, she should feel as comfortable as she wants, but like she would know to be respectful of like the space that I have created for myself. Like being able to have your own space, especially when you come from like the kind of household that like Monica in particular, because they really grew up in different households even though it was the same, being able to have your own space is really important. And as her brother, who has been in her life for a really long time and understands the dynamic and the relationship that she has with her parents, you would think he would respect that, but no. So basically he's just disrespecting her space, just pretending like he like owns the whole thing. And like she literally had to tell him like, I hated you growing up, and if you keep behaving like this in my apartment, I'm going to hate you now. Which is really like, I love Monica. She's her and Chandler are my two favorite characters, and there's a reason for that, because I would have like, you got to go. But going back to the whole like the relationship, him and Monica like growing up in the same house but also at the same time in two different environments, so he knows that his parents clearly favor him over Monica, right? And he never does anything to defend her. Like, yo, what? He should have called his parents out. He should have been like, this little girl literally did nothing to y'all, and supported his little sister from the get. Like he's her big brother. Like he's supposed to feel protective of her and supportive, but no, he sort of just let her deal with that trauma on her own. And even like when they grew up, never really took into account how, I mean, yes, her parents, like the burden is on her parents to make sure that like they're treating their little daughter with like love and empathy. Is that too much to ask? But as her older brother, he also had some responsibility to make sure that she didn't feel completely alone in that house. Moving on to Ross as a father. I do think there were moments where Ross was a good father, so I'll give that to him. One or two moments. The episode where he wouldn't let Ben play with the Barbie doll, it's a toy, my guy. It's literally just a toy. And he literally like went so out of his way to like get Ben to play with the G.I. Joe doll. And it's like they're both dolls. Lastly, the fact that he forgot that Ben existed at all once Emma came into the picture. Once Emma was born, we did not see Ben anymore. He did not talk about Ben anymore. Last but not least, Ross Geller as a boyfriend. Before we get into that, I just want to, the whole on a break versus not on a break. So I will say this, right? Rachel clearly stated, I want to go on a break, right? She said, I want a break from us. So I will admit, yes, they were on a break. However, a break does not equal a breakup. Let me repeat that one more time, just in case like y'all didn't hear that. A break does not equal a breakup, okay? A breakup is, I hate you, I hate your guts, I'm setting your house and your car on fire, and I never want to hear from you ever again. I want to break up. That is a breakup. A break is, I'm gonna smash some windows, you know, throw some clothes out the door, out the window, cry a little maybe, but we're gonna work this out eventually, okay? So a breakup will take you to prison, right? A break is me on a good day. They were on a break, but they were not broken up. Therefore, what Ross did was, that's right, cheating. You got it. Yeah, he cheated. But even if they weren't on a break, right? Even if they were broken up, right? Like, cars gone, apartments gone, everything set on fire, like broken up, you still cannot sleep with someone less than 24 hours after a break. Who does that? Like, what is mentally wrong with you to sleep with someone less than 24, not even less than 24 hours, literally a couple of hours later? Rachel said, we're on a break. He went to the bar, met the copy girl or copier girl or whatever. We're in bed. That all happened in what, like the span of, I want to say like 6 hours. I'm not entirely sure on the whole timeline. I'm gonna do some more research after this, but like I want to say 6 hours, you know? And sleeping with someone else 6 hours after a breakup, trash. So there are two kinds of apologies in my opinion, right? There are people who apologize because they are sincerely remorseful for what they did, and sincerely remorseful that they hurt someone they care about, and they want to, and they apologize, and that apologize comes with changed behavior, right? But there are people who apologize simply because they want to move past the situation, not out of sincerity, but just because it's making them uncomfortable, because they know they did something wrong and they no longer want to feel uncomfortable, so they apologize so that like they can move past it. When Ross apologized to Rachel after she found out that he had cheated, he apologized not because he was sincerely remorseful for his action, but just because he wanted to get back with her and move past the whole thing. And you can see that because his actions through the remainder of the show clearly depict that. Once he apologized, hoping that Rachel would forgive him, they would move on, and he would be happy, and they would be happy together again, although clearly he did not care whether she was happy, because he wouldn't have cheated and risked getting her fired by showing up to her job uninvited. You can see that he wasn't sincerely remorseful, because literally the minute she chose not to forgive him and to end their relationship, he changed the narrative. Suddenly he technically didn't cheat because they were on a break and therefore not at fault for anything. And his incapability to take fault for his action. Ladies, this is a giant red flag, okay? If a dude cannot accept fault for anything, if the words "I'm sorry" never come out of someone's mouth, you might be dating a Ross Geller. And just think, are you really ready to give up your dream job in fucking Paris for a paleontologist who cheated on you 6 hours after a breakup? So, you know, I don't really know much about this whole love thing, right? But I would imagine if I loved somebody and they got the opportunity to do their dream job, no matter how far away they were from me, I could never take that away. I could never, like, how do you claim to love someone and then get in the way of like their dreams, of something that is so important to them? But consistently throughout the show, he's definitely gotten in the way of like her career. And how do you do that to someone you love? Like, they're allowed to have a life outside of you, you know, they're allowed to have a life outside of your relationship, and he never once got that and never respected that. And she should have stayed on that plane, and she should have taken that bomb-ass job in Paris, and she should have married a nice French guy. So I'm sure there's a lot more, but I'm really getting tired of like editing long ass videos. So I'm gonna end it here and just say, if y'all want to see me do more videos about Friends, I could do a character analysis on like all the characters. That sounds really fun, although it would be hard now that it's no longer on Netflix. Let me know.
Way. Your job's a joke.